Hi, this is Pat Moorhead, and the 6.5 is on the road, live at Dell Tech World 2023 in Las Vegas. You can just feel the excitement. I mean, it's on in-person events are back, and I love it. I mean, Dan, I really loved going into the big keynote and seeing all the people in the stadium. I love that. It never gets boring for me. It's always exciting.
If you're the punctual type that gets down early and gets a seat,
Right.
it's an amazing experience. And if you're me and you tend to show up to everything somewhere between 1 and 15 minutes late, it was actually brutal because it was so full this year, I couldn't get a seat. But if you're doing an event, that's what you want to be. And let's just say day 1, day 2, action-packed, floor wall to wall, big topics. We were going cloud, PC, device, AI, sustainability, Pat. It was a good event, and the energy is back.
It is. And one of the biggest topics out there is the future of work. I mean, if you think about how many different ways that has been defined, I mean, pre-pandemic, it was defined as one thing. And then it was then everybody's going to be remote. And then we're going to come back and do, a kind of a quasi.
It's like a pendulum.
Exactly.
Did you say the future of work?
I should say that next time. Give you a plug for your company. I'll do that. But anyways, let's introduce our incredible guest here, Ed Ward. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Pat.
Yeah, it was great to see you on the big stage, baby. It was I love this stuff, and I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I still get super excited. But it was great to see you up on stage there.
Oh no, it felt great. I mean, the team does great work with the products and the future of work, and so getting a chance to get up and talk about what they do,
right?
And especially starting with, hey, you can talk about all the technology, which
hey,
I've been in the technology industry for 36 years, so I'm an engineer, so I love it.
Yes.
But being able to say, hey, we start with the customer and what really is going to work for them, and then track it back to what can we do in the technology now to enable that? That's what's really cool. I mean, even today on the business side, but you really can't take the engineer out of me. I still love that stuff. So talking about it's just
love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna do that here, Ed. And by the way, the part of Jeff Clark's keynote when he had Gen AI, he was asking for Jen Felch. I thought, your CIO. I thought
that was funny.
Really funny.
That was good. Really I like that.
I got a couple of laughs out of that one. And it's good when you can be really smart and funny. It makes us
well, it's kind of like an engineer that's an extrovert.
Extroverted engineer. Is
They're
that
rare.
a thing? Is that you?
I'm pretty sure
that's a rare one.
Well, let's start there a little bit. You sort of indicated, what'd you say, 36 years?
36.
Okay, you don't look that old.
No, seriously. He said that, and I'm, doing the math, and I did find out that we did work at one of the same companies.
Yes, we did.
Which was amazing. But no, I cannot believe you've been working. I mean, you've been working since you've been 12. Right?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that
compliment here.
Less
flirting, more asking questions.
We both worked at NCR.
That's great.
Yeah.
Interesting. So give us a little bit of the background. What has filled those 36 years, and what are you doing here at Dell?
Sure. So, hey, look. So what I do here at Dell is I'm president of the client product group. So I'm responsible for all of our PC products, defining the roadmap, getting the engineering to make that happen, and then the operational piece, not the manufacturing, but the operational piece around program management, the quality, the regulatory items, the product data, all of those things I do. And some of it I do on behalf of the company, not just on behalf of our client organization. So that's kind of my remit at Dell. And, I've been at Dell for 23 of the last 28 years, starting as an engineering manager and then kind of moving up the chain from there, and been in technology since 1986, back before you had, Verilog and VHDL and RTL code and all that, back when you had light tables and you built your own transistors. So back when 1.2 micron or 1200 nanometer, for those of you out there that use nanometers, was state-of-the-art technology.
Were you out of
so I've been there
diapers
for
then?
a long time.
I was just getting out of diapers. So, I am a child of the 80s.
Yeah. So I've been doing this a long time.
So, if I go all the way back and look at how the Dell portfolio have evolved, I mean, it's stunning how it's done that. I'm curious, from your point of view, how has the portfolio evolved to meet these new needs of future of work? Which, by the way, the future of work is hard to define. It's a hard thing to do and optimize for, but running products, at one point you have to cut and lock in on specific designs. So What has changed? What has evolved in the product line?
Well, the biggest thing that's evolved, I'll kind of start with is, we start and end everything with our customers. And what's really changed is the nature of work, which is something you're trying to get done versus a place you're trying to do it at. And if you think back before the pandemic, we have what we call these personas because we really look at workloads and what are people doing in workflows, and then try to group those into areas, to your point, because you can't have a product for every workflow, right? So as we did that, we said, well, hey, you got people that are in the halls, you have people that are traveling, you have people that are just producing, work, engineers. And so it's kind of based around where they were doing work. And right before the pandemic, we said, you know what? We really need to flip that on its head and really talk about what it is they're doing, because mobility actually matters for everybody.
Right.
And then the pandemic just took that to a whole nother level. And so what we've done is we've really focused in on what are the workflows, what are the work people are trying to do, whether they're a business builder and they're building their business, they're an accounting executive, they're on the road a lot, whether they're a specialist, they're an engineer designing an airplane wing or whatever it is they might be doing, or a connector, somebody who's in project management, connecting different people, and what types of things do they do, and how do we build products for those areas. And so that's what's really changed. And what that's led to in our portfolio is pretty much thinner and lighter everywhere. It matters. That doesn't mean it's the thinnest everywhere, but it's a thing we think about for each product, and then being very specific about the level of performance that we're putting in so that that's what's needed there, so you can hit the right price points and really delight the customer. At the same time, be able to simplify it for IT with security and manageability items and sustainability. Like I said on Monday, we've used over 55 million pounds of sustainable materials in our products last year. So in our packaging and latitudes is 100% recyclable already, 7 years ahead of schedule. So those are all of the three triumvirates, if you will, that we focus on. And that's what's really changed.
So you've gotten some pretty good attention, Ed, for Project Luna. You talked a little bit about, the materials and what you've done and process, but of course that's the kind of next era, looking at how to, build something modular that's super sustainable. We did a conversation about sustainability here too with Cassandra, big topic. But you talked about thinner, you talked about lighter, kind of what's the curve of innovation ahead? What do you see kind of coming down the road that's going to be really driving Dell's next wave of PC innovation?
Sure. I think one of the big things that's going to drive it, and it was talked about yesterday, if you think about generative AI and you think about what's going to happen with that and how that's going to really change the way you interact with your PC. Right. Okay. Whether it's, you're typing on a keyboard, whether you're doing search or whether you have a chat bots or whatever it might be, but that's really going to change the interaction with the PC, which is really something we talked about 4 or 5 years ago, as we talked about the PC really getting you and really, understanding what you're looking for, and maybe even not having a screen and things are just popping up. So we're not there yet, but I think that interaction is what's going to then drive the innovation in the PC to make it easier for people to interact with their PC and for it to be able to deliver what they need even before they know they need it.
Yeah, I was fascinated with some of the features that Dell had early on with Optimizer and even predictive and proactive maintenance, which was using machine learning algorithms to literally tell you before something might go wrong with the device and actually send out a part before you even knew that was going to happen, and then different elements of Optimizer. But I am very enthused now that the microprocessor providers are just about to put these gigantic NPUs into, and regardless of whether you're Qualcomm, an Intel, or an AMD, it's all coming. I am really looking forward to that because, quite frankly, I think what we've learned, regardless of the type of the AI, is a lot of that has to happen on the device itself. It's decreased latency, and a lot of people aren't comfortable throwing everything up into the cloud to be worked on. So I'm especially looking forward to that. Let's move to PC as a service. So Dell is no stranger to PC as a service. You've been offering that for a few years now. I just did a write-up of your latest, which was the APEX managed service for small business, $70 a month, which is essentially, leave the driving to us. And makes perfect sense for a small business. How are you modernizing this as a service journey and really upping your game in services. Because I don't care if it's in an Uber, groceries, IaaS at a public cloud vendor, people love the flexibility of services.
Oh, absolutely, Pat. And that's one of the reasons, again, why we announced Apex. We started talking about it a few years ago, and it's really becoming alive now, especially in the client space, starting to become alive. And people want flexibility. They want areas where they can have, predictable costs, but yet they can still get the latest and greatest technology for their employees or for their business so they can drive productivity. And more, they want to focus on, hey, I want to focus on my business and have the technology be there in the back. I know it's there, but I don't want to focus on the technology. I want to drive my business. And we want to be able to help our customers achieve their goals and really focus on their business. And so we said, you know what? We have to deliver that capability. So they have the flexibility. They have the consistent costs they can be thinking of, but yet they can have the latest and greatest technologies. And we've really integrated that all throughout it. And one of the things we heard from the customers is that some customers were like, hey, I'm not ready to go there fully on the managed journey with you,
Right.
but I do like the flexibility and the cost and being able to that. And so they asked us actually to keep those things separate. So if you want it all together, we'll sell you both. If you want to buy just one or the other, because that's where you are on the journey, then that's fine too. I mean, Michael started this company 39 years ago, really listening to customers and delivering what they needed in the best way possible. And we're still doing that today.
So we have just a few minutes left, and appreciate you making the time here. We know it's a crazy week for you. I saw one of your peer executives sitting down responding to an email, Ed, and I stopped him and I'm like, you can do that here? Because the pace that they keep you on, like to have 5 minutes to do anything, because there's so many customers here, so many partners here. Everybody wants to have a chance to talk to you. Future of work, though, we kind of alluded to it, and we've really leaned into it through the lens of the PC, and that's the world you live in. But I imagine you have to be thinking about kind of what the future of work looks like more broadly. AI, new profile hardware, full vertical stacks. Like, I just love to get, since this is probably what you eat, drink, and sleep all day, what do you sort of see as the future of work looking like now that we're back in physical events? We still have PCs, we still have phones, but you're hearing things about wearables. You're hearing things about some companies maybe coming out with something that could be AR. We heard the metaverse came and then we heard it died. I don't know. Like, what do you think is ahead for us? What is work going to look like in the next, few years?
Well, that's a great question. And it's like Chuck said at the keynote, the answer is there's not one answer. Yeah. Right.
Safe
that's
too.
really the
Good
answer.
And
right?
a safe answer.
So that's really it. But seriously, look, at the end of the day, we believe in the PC. We believe that the PC will transform. It may not look like the PC of yesterday, but fundamentally, when you have a device that you need to be able to get productive things on, or you also want to have some creativity on, or you also want to have play games or whatever on, we still believe that device is going to be essential. It is the essential productivity device. And in client group, we speak in the language of productivity, whatever that productivity is, whether it's for work or for play. Now, what that device looks like, how the screen is, how you interact with the screen, will those things change? Absolutely. And we'll be driving that innovation. And what I think is going to drive that forward is, as I started at the top, the interaction with your PC will change. That's what will change. And then we will address the device as appropriate to handle the best way you want to interact with it. How do you want to talk to it? Do you want to gesture with it? Do you want to, whatever it is you want to use your eyes, whatever it is you want to do, we will address that so that you can do that in the most effective way to really drive productivity. And productivity isn't just about office productivity. It's also about consumer productivity, getting a paper done, whatever it is you might be trying to do. So we believe in that. And, like they said, the reports of the PC's deaths have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, there's some real wisdom in that whole thing. And what I always like to say is technology transition, it's not about an or. This is about ands. Mainframes are very much a thing right now. Client server, that workstations, this notion that tablets were going to kill the PC. Well, that didn't happen. But we now have tablets and we have PCs. So I think that what does happen, I mean, we don't have MP3 players anymore. That got kind of subsumed into the phone. But technology really is about and I think there is going to be a lot of ands out there. We will see the metaverse for certain areas like training and things like that. Digital twin makes perfect sense. And yeah, we'll have to see what the future holds.
We may
But
still want to come to events and see each other.
exactly.
Instead of swimming in the meta social world.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. So Ed, I want to I really thank you for spending time with us. It is hard during these busy times, I know, to sit down, but getting your point of view. And I mean, Dell is, the largest. I mean, you guys are crushing it in market share. I think I heard 10 straight years of share gains, profitable share gains too, which I think puts kind of an icing on the cake. If nothing else, says Dell PCs are doing a lot of things right. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Really appreciate you guys coming to Dell Technologies World, and thank you for inviting me.
Let's have you back soon, Ed. And everyone out there, we hope you enjoyed this conversation with Ed Ward. We hope you tuned into all of the Dell Tech World conversations here on the 6.5, on the road. Patrick Moorhead and myself, we always appreciate you tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Watch all of our shows every week, including our Friday show. But for this episode, it's time to say goodbye.